Well, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Son of a gun. It is Sunday, the something of December 2021. I think it's the 18th. Thumbs up for that. Things are well. On the other hand, while things are well, I have been noticing of late, I am super shaky and jittery all the time now. And it's even before I bonk with my thumb under my chin. It's even before I take my meds. So it's not the caffeine or the Ritalin that's making me jittery, because I wake up and I'm shaky even before I take my meds. So I'm taking vitamins. I'm trying to eat as best I can. I don't know why I'm feeling so shaky. It's unpleasant, uncomfortable. Yay. Anyway, though, welcome to the day. It is a good thing, and I hope that you are doing well. And of course, to front load the video, hey, if you could interact with the YouTube algorithms and leave me a comment, that would be very, very cool. I love comments. I try to answer as many as I can. If you could toss me a like, that would be very cool. If you could interact as well and subscribe to my channel, if you haven't, that would be awesome as well. I also would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These beautiful and awesome people help to keep me alive, and that is a very, very good thing. I appreciate that very, very much. I'm on disability. I cannot work. I am broken, and without these people here, it would be terrible. I'd be homeless. So thank you, each and every one of you. It is greatly and deeply appreciated. If you'd like to become a patron, there are links in the video description, wherever that happens to be. Thumbs up. Yay! Preloading, whatever, of the YouTube algorithms. I can't speak English lately. I am so tired. To bed late, and then up at 5, and then leg cramps as I was trying to get dressed. So, shaky, brain not working well, tired, joy. But thank you, each and every person that watches, and it is appreciated to no end. Definitely a thumbs up. I am, of course, wearing this because I'm freezing. I'm always cold, except when I'm hot. Or when I'm both hot and cold at the same time, because I have been goosebumpy and shivering and drenched in sweat because I'm so hot at the same time. So you gotta love that. Past that, though, just been surviving, and that is very good. Went for walkies last night, and that was nice. I walked, all the places that I usually walk, but I like walking at night. Aside from the issue of, again, we have a large homeless population in Shelton, and there is nothing wrong with being homeless. It's not an issue that even is largely your fault, especially in the U.S. Unfortunately, there are people that have mental issues or addiction issues. These people do need help, and they don't get it because here in the U.S., well, starting back in the 1980s, when Ronald Reagan was elected president, the very, very first thing that they did was to literally shut down every state and federal mental hospital. And what did they do with all of those patients? They discharged them onto the street. And a lot of them just were murdered on the street. They all died. They didn't all die, of course. But there was a lot of death because these people didn't know how to take care of themselves. They needed to be institutionalized to live. And the U.S.'s method of treating that was to say, well, if you die on the street, then thumbs up, thank you. We don't have to pay money. And that's been the method of dealing with mental health here in the U.S. ever since. So, while I enjoy walking at night, it's also kind of, you never know what's going to go on. Because at one point I was following this one person who I'll sing. I sing here. I don't have a wonderful voice, but with some voice training it can get better. But I sing, but I don't sing out in public at the top of my voice about, my own lyrics that are not all that great. So it's fun walking on the same street with these people, because we have had some people run amok and hurt others, so joyous. It's wonderful. But checking out my little list down here again, one of the things that I did find funny just this morning, just before I started recording, was a Skyrim clip, and it did make me laugh because there are all sorts of weird artifacts you can get, and one of them is a sword of like this one character called Jigalag. which I don't like that pronunciation, but that's neither here nor there. But you've got this great big two-handed sword, and one of the characters in your party is saying like, gosh, you should be careful with that. We don't know what it does. And then so to show what it does in the 16-second clip, the guy's just behind a bandit and goes, whap, smacks him with the sword and the bandit's down. And it's like, I think we can guess what a sword does. It's just a big chunk of sharpened metal. So it's not that much of a mystery. But that's life. Plus also because the reactionaries online always so wonderful, you've all still got them talking about politics in games and how they don't want politics in games, which politics is not just what happens in government. Politics governs our actions and interactions with every other human being on the planet. By saying you don't want politics in your games, you are making a political statement. And you are willing to stand on that to hold your ground on your political statement that you don't want political statements in your game. But as it was shown in this one video, by a person called the Cavernacle, they're showing all the various reactionaries and how, they absolutely despise all this stuff in games. They just want pure gaming. Except, of course, if any sort of reactionary / alt-right / conservative sort of politics gets into a game that they can actually identify, then they're all for it. In fact, they'll do great amounts of videos saying, Look, this politics is in the game. Isn't it wonderful? We need more of this. But anything that's not theirs is keep your politics out of my games. Games should be just fun. Never minding the fact that all media has been political since the very beginning. All these people out there, the reactionaries that are complaining about, the X-Men are getting woke. These things are woke. It's like Stan Lee made them woke from the very beginning. The X-Men were a stand-in to show bigotry and racism. It's all politics. It's always been politics. So, Joy, it was just that driving me nuts again. And of course, on this whole thing about gaming, I wanted to talk about that because I've been rather surprised about something going on with gaming and myself. I'm older, obviously, and the thing is, I also look older and probably chronologically am older than I should be because I was an active alcoholic for 25 plus years, and you are aged. Amelia, get out of the box. Use it and then get out. Don't just keep playing in it. She drives me nuts that way. It's like she'll take 5 seconds to use it and then spend 2 minutes digging. But I'm older, my reflexes are shot. This arm was just flat, my hand, not my arm, was paralyzed for like 2 years. And so I've got scar tissue. It does not work well. And yet, I still love playing first-person shooter games. And they've got Quake and Quake 2 with full packs and new stuff that have been released on the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So I've been playing through the older Quakes again, and I have noticed, just like in other things, stuff that used to just destroy me. I fought so hard to get through just years and years ago. I'm blasting through these things without even really slowing down. My eyesight is so bad. It's terrible. And many times, all I'm really looking for is movement on a screen. If your screen's like this and I happen to be looking up here, I can tell from a blink down here of something that just, a couple pixels flicker. It's like, oh boy. And then zoom, turn, juke, shoot, jump, and I've usually taken out the thing that was sneaking up to get me. I'm blasting through these things better than I ever have. Even a lot of modern shooters. Same thing. I'm playing better than I ever have with my terrible reflexes being damaged by age, with my damaged hand. It works as a club unless I think about it. So when I get startled and which happens occasionally. My hands will fly off the keyboard, especially this one. I try to make a small move, but if I'm not thinking about it, it's a huge exaggerated thing that happens, and I lose control of the hand. If I'm using a controller, I've got to look down and put my hand back on it properly. Keyboard, I don't know where I'm going. With my mouse, I have lost my mouse entirely, and I still play better than I have, so I'm not going to complain too much. There is a little bit that I do want to talk about, things like with my world building, the whole King and Crimson and the Crimson Kingdoms and all that, because I love all of this stuff, and then one day I am going to put it all together. I'm working on it, and with my goals for writing, hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later. But I still think about the King and Crimson, about the Crimson Kingdom, Red Palace, and all that, because, hey, I love these characters and I love the situations. One of the things that I have been thinking about, the King in Crimson is so worried about their amazing machine. Their amazing, beautiful machine, the civilization that they have been building. They would like for it to last as long as possible after their inevitable passage. But they also know that the seeds of the city's destruction are baked into its DNA. The King in Crimson, before it became fully sentient, was observing, watching, absorbing, not having any real conscious thought, but looking and taking everything in. Spend a very long time watching a lot of human civilizations rise and fall. Internalized inside, well, of course it's inside, that's when internalizing it, internalized the lessons learned, and then at a certain point came up with their first conscious thought of there are a lot of pitfalls I must avoid if I am to be king. But to be able to stop everything, you'd have to observe everything. So to be ready for everything, they would still be observing now. They'd never be able to make a movement, because there's always more to observe and learn. So at some point, you have to make a decision and move. And so not having seen and knowing what will happen with everything, the way the city is made, something is going to happen. Likely because of the way the city is made up, that either the king or the descendants of whoever takes over are just going to be completely unprepared for when it happens. And it will happen. It's like the cancers that are built into the DNA of us as human beings. If you live long enough, but that threshold is different for every person, you will eventually perish of some kind of cancer. For some people, that's less than a year before it takes them and they go. Some people die at 120 and they aren't even close to their threshold for getting it. Most of us fall somewhere in the middle. So it's like that. At some point, the seeds of destruction baked into the DNA of the city will cause its destruction. But until that time, they are doing their level best to make sure this city and all the civilizations surrounding it are as strong as possible. One of the reasons they continue to push for knowledge and technology and computer strength and power, which was also, of course, why, decentralization, such a big thing. Which also, in retrospect, when I talk again about the Apple Rock Kaiju and how it rampages through the place, the King in Crimson is big on decentralization, not putting everything in one place. That way, if you stop one group, you've still got these others that can take up the slack and go, whoa, we need to defend against something. You pull everything into one place, that's inviting destruction. So, of course, when they look back, every one of the agents of the Crimson Kingdom that had been around Apple Rock had been given instructions to pull in closer and get into city limits. Every single one of the king's operatives like that became a casualty. There was no way for anyone to find out what was going on as the kaiju was rampaging and eating. this is directly against what the king would do. So yeah, when the king's people are talking about how the reach of the kaiju may be such that everything we all do, we're just pawns for a future thing that happens, it even includes like the king and the Pale King and the Association of Sovereign Free States. The Apple Rock Kaiju is likely the single most powerful of powerful beings in the Razor's Edge through this door. And of course, they're rebuilding, Apple Rock, knowing that in about another year and a half, it's gonna come down, and we'll find out then just how hungry and destructive it is. But it is almost infinite resources there, and everybody needs resources, so you can't just leave the place alone. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments. My community tab. I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments. As long as it's greater than 0, thank you so very, very much. I say as long as, from my point, not saying you need to hurry up. No, any comments at all are fine. And if you don't leave comments, thumbs up for that as well. It's just, I do appreciate them. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, and, well, you've seen the way my memory works, I forget stuff all the time. So we have Mountain Tea and then a whole bunch of owls. Thank you so very, very much. Good to see you. And Pancake Cookie, good to see you as well. Craig YAC, thumbs up and thank you. We have Larry from Space. So far so good, thank you, and good to see you. Ice Damon, greatly appreciated, and oh yes it is. Raul0469, thumbs up and thank you. And then just a random string of not digits, but alphabetical symbols. Thank you. And then we have Ivan Blue with some information. Thumbs up and thank you. Ben B, thank you very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Blurry Face, thank you. And, it is appreciated. So there we have it. 10 people left me comments in the past 24 hours. Thumbs up and thank you. As stated, you get me out of my head and into the world, dealing with real people, if only a couple, if only in text. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, I do not know what device you're watching this on, so I do not know where the show more is, but in the video description there are links to all of my various channels, reaction and game and creative. I forgot for a moment. If you could check those out, that'd be cool. I also have Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and again I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These beautiful and awesome people are literally beautiful and awesome, helping to keep me alive. I appreciate that. I know my hamster appreciates that. I know my kitty cat appreciates that, and if they could speak English, they would thank you as well. Unfortunately, they can't. They are, non-sapient animals, and such is life. Ow. But thank you so very, very much. My wrists. I have carpal tunnel, so doing stuff like that hurts. Yay. Now, where was I? Uh-oh. I hate derailing myself. Whenever I talk about something, I get lost. So I'm just going to say it was, I have Facebook. Okay, if you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I also have a PayPal link down below. And if you could toss me anything at all, I am desperate for cash. I'm really hurting right now. It's not good. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. But if you'd like to help me out without sending money, I have an Amazon wish list link with cat food and hamster bedding and such on it. If you could check that out, that'd be very cool. Don't feel obligated. I don't feel entitled. And if you cannot or do not donate, I do take all good wish lists and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very much. Remember, of course, to seek positivity, creativity, and balance in your life. A good foundation for a life. Not the only things for a life, just a good thing to build the rest of your life upon. There are other foundations just as good and valid, but this is a good one. And of course, with the Gofefe bug still raging and all these new variants, please, if you don't have to go out amongst others, don't. If you do, please wear a mask, maintain your social distancing, wash your hands off, and try not to touch your face. Get vaxxed if you're not. Get the booster if you can. Don't become another statistic. We only have a short period on this earth before our inevitable end. You don't need to speed run. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and quite frankly, I think that's a very good idea.